For a number of years now, on vessel bases larger than about 2.5, 3 inches, I've been employing what I call a floating base. This has solved the problem of vessel failure in the base area. This is the bottom of my vessel. It starts off with a segmented ring of walnut, and then I've attached or stacked a segmented ring of maple. I've turned a recessed mortise, if you will, that I can insert a loose-fitting disc of wood, a floating piece of wood, into this area. Here's my next layer that's going to go on top of the maple ring. For in between, I've turned this disc of wood. That'll be the bottom there. It fits in here. I've covered it with some plastic tape which will protect it from glue contact. I'll remove the tape after the assembly's been glued together. You can see there's some movement. There's a little gap which provides room for the side grain of the disc to move so it can expand. So I'm going to glue this at the two ends. The wood grain's going this way. I'm going to put just a dab of glue under here and under there. And this will get glued, sandwiching the disc in between. Here's the vessel bottom. It's a very flat profile. The advantage of this design is this piece of wood will be able to move side to side without putting stress on the adjacent rings. To assist me in my glue job, I've turned a little tiny tenon here, a little ridge. That's going to allow me, when I glue this on, to perfectly align the two pieces. Everything will be very, very centered. To help ensure freedom of movement, I'm applying some wax around the edge of the disc. Before gluing on the walnut ring, I want to secure my disc centered in this recess. So a few dabs of glue and a careful centering with the end grain on the glue ends, making sure this is perfectly centered, putting a little weight on it, and letting this cure for a while before I put my walnut ring on. Now normally I like to use a lot of glue, but certainly not in this case. Minimal glue, keeping glue away from that groove, the gap between the disc. I don't want glue to migrate into that seam. So I've used minimum glue. I'm not going to slide my disc all over the place, squeezing the glue out. Keeping things centered, using the sealing clamp technique for pressure. I'm using an awl here. The point of the awl is feeling that ridge so I can get this thing perfectly centered. So here's my solution to that wood grain movement problem on large bases. You can see my base here. It's inset just a little bit, which provides a nice rim for the bowl or vessel to rest on. It's free to move without putting stress on this ring. It should live happily for a long time. I really recommend this type of base for vessel bases bigger than about 3.5 inches or so. Give it a try.